Hello everybody, this is Shirley with Shirley's Threadwork. Thank you for stopping by, I do appreciate it. Today is day 7 of my Christmas gifting ideas. And what are we making today? We are going to make a beautiful peppermint candy coaster. And I got this design off of Embroidery Library. I get a lot of my designs off Embroidery Libraries because I really like that particular design website. And this particular coaster is a little unique based upon how I've done other ones, but it's still an easy stitch out. Takes me about 55 minutes or so to stitch it out because naturally, as I've told you before, I don't stitch anything out very fast. I usually go anywhere at 600 to 700 stitches per minute. I don't do the 1,000. I'm just not comfortable with that speed. So it's going to take me roughly 55 or so minutes to stitch everything out. But what I want to tell you and show you right now is exactly how the stuff that you'll need in order to get it set up and ready to go. The instructions are a little not as clear as you would like for it to be because they use instructions for a different coaster. Similar but not exactly the same, so you have to do it a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I'm going to tell you what to do so you won't have to struggle trying to figure it out like I did, because I did actually get a chance to make it and it turned out really cute. That's this coaster, if you've seen it before. So it's still wet because I had to get the water-soluble stabilizer out of it, but I made it, so I'm going to show you what I did and how I set it up. So it turned out really cute. I think you'll like it. So I did decide to use my 5.5 by 5.5 mighty hoop. Actually, I could have used a larger hoop, but I don't have one because this particular design is right around 4.9 inches in diameter. And this is a 5 point by 5, and I'm very leery about making sure that my design is going to fit inside the hoop. And when I did all of the tracing and everything, it was so close to the hoop itself that I felt more comfortable of just shrinking it down almost an inch. So I stitched this out at 4.11 by 4.11 to make sure I could get all the lace and everything in there to fit into my machine. So I was able to reduce it on my on my Brother PR 1055X, and everything worked out just fine. So keep that in mind. Make sure that you choose a hoop that is going to fit, or if you have Embrilliance or some other editing software, you can adjust the size to fit the hoop and so forth and so on, like I did. But I was able to get it to fit on my hoop by adjusting it on my machine. We have the capability to do that and keep the stitches intact, the density and everything. So what will you need? Of course, I have the color chart, and I do have the instructions in here which I read to try to get some clarity. So what you have to have violin stabilizer, which this is OESD, I believe it is, and it's called Sew and Wash, but it's just like the violin stabilizer, the kind of paper looking water soluble stabilizer. So I used that, and I also am going to use some Sulky Ultra Solvy stabilizer on top. So the violin goes on the bottom, and I have this hooped. I'm using my my backing to hoop it, and all I have to do now is just go ahead and attach. So I have it attached, and I take the backing off, and you're going to do this just like you're doing an applique. You're going to stitch the positioning stitch, which is going to be a circle, obviously. Now they also have 2 die lines in the design itself where they're asking you to cut out the circle on your cutaway stabilizer, your medium weight cutaway stabilizer, which I have done. I've cut out 2 different stabilizer. One is for the back and one is for the front. And my front is white like this, and my back is this red fabric here. And the circle of stabilizer will fit on here, and it is stitched perfectly well, because when you have the die line, you just sit your design, you do the die line, and then you place your stabilizer and your fabric on top of the die line, and then you go ahead and stitch. And then when you're ready to do the back, you will do the exact same thing. You will attach the stabilizer to the die line that has already been stitched, and then put your fabric on it underneath and go ahead and stitch around it. So it may sound a little confusing or complicated, but it really is not. Once I figured it out how to do it, then I realized this is not complicated at all. Now let me explain, because I couldn't figure it out, and then the more I thought about it and read it and everything, I realized what they were trying to do. The lace part, this white part is lace. You don't want stabilizer here. This has to be clear. So the stabilizer has to be a circle. So when you make it a circle before you put it on, it doesn't get hooped down. So once you stitch your top fabric on it and you take it off and you trim it to the die line or the tack down stitch, you're trimming not only the fabric, you're trimming away most of the excess stabilizer as well. So the stabilizer is only stabilizing the coaster part, not the lace part. So that's the whole concept of cutting the stabilizer out in a circle and putting it on, and so forth and so on. So you won't have stabilizer interfering with your lace. So that's the whole concept. So excuse me, if you get this design and you see the instruction and you're a little confused, just keep that in mind, that you have to make sure that you're going to cut away the stabilizer, so you're not going to stitch the lace on top of it, and you have to do it when you get to the part where you're actually cutting the excess top material away, as well as the excess bottom material away. And then you'll have beautiful lace that is not hindered by stabilizer, because it is held together by your water soluble stabilizer, which is the violin on the bottom, that fibrous white stabilizer, and your clear or your ultra solvy stabilizer on top. So it's sandwiched like that. So that is the whole concept and the process of how to do this particular coaster. Everything else is just simple, and that's just, you know, how you do all of your other type of appliques and coasters and what have you. So I have this hoop. I'm going to put it on the machine, and then I'm going to go ahead and my design is already set up and ready to go. I'm going to put it onto the machine, and I'm going to stitch the die line on here. Then I'll show you what the next step is, so you'll see exactly what it is I'm trying to explain to you. So here is the design on my machine, and it's going to stitch this out. Hopefully you can see I have my stop hands up, so I'm going to be stopping at every stop to make sure that I am able to perform the task for the next stitch. And I have it set up at 4.11 inches by 4.11 inches. I've traced it. I set up my colors and everything. And let me move the camera. Down here you can see I have already stitched out the placement die line. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and place my little round disc of stabilizer on the placement line, and then I will put the fabric. Actually, I'm going to spray adhesive the stabilizer into this little round circle there, and then I'll put my fabric on top of it. So I don't have it sprayed yet, but here it is. I'm going to put it on just like that. I'm going to spray it so it won't move. And then once I have it on sprayed, then I will lay the fabric on top of that and tack it down. Once I have it tacked down, then when it's time to start doing the decorative stitches, I will put the Sulky Ultra Solvy water stabilizer on top of it and go ahead and do the decorative stitches. So that's the process of what I'm going to do. So again, let me tell you, I'm going to spray adhesive this down, put the fabric on top of this, stitch it down, tack it down, and then I'll go ahead and get started with the decorative stitches. And that's the process. Quick and simple. Now that I have it tacked down, I cut away the excess stabilizer as well as the excess fabric, just like you're doing an applique. So everything else is going to be stitched on top of this little round disc, which is the coaster itself. And I will be putting my Sulky water soluble stabilizer on top, and I will be stitching all of the decorative stitches on top of that. And I will show you what it looks like when it is completed. Well, I'll show you when it gets to the part where I have to add the bottom or the back part, the bottom part. You'll do the stitches that it is required. Then you take it off, flip it over, put your back fabric on, which is going to be red, and then put it back on and finish stitching it. So that's the process. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the stitch that's required now. Now that I have this beautiful peppermint candy stitching done, it is time to attach the back. So I'm going to take this off, turn it over, and attach the back to it, and then put it back on. The back is going to have the round stabilizer with the red fabric on it. I'm going to spray adhesive to it. I'm going to tape it down a little bit and then put it back onto the hoop right side up with the back red fabric on the back here, and then I'll be able to go ahead and complete the entire stitching of this beautiful peppermint candy coaster. See how I have the back on? Here's the front and here's the back. You have the pretty side showing and the side without the print attached to the actual hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and hoop it onto my machine just like this, and I'm going to stitch it on. It's going to put a stitch around it. I'll take it off and I'll cut this down, and then everything else will be just smooth sailing and it'll be just stitching. So now you can see where I put the back of it on and I've cut it out. Here's the front, here's the back of your coaster. Now I'm going to put it back on the machine, and I'm going to finish all of the detail of the coaster, the lace and everything, and I will be showing you the finished product when it is done. It says it takes at 700 stitches per minute. It takes about 48 minutes. It's 27,794 stitches at this 4.11 by 4.11 size. So it's not a quick stitch, but it's not terrible, and it's easy to make, and it's a really cute project. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it up, and then I will get back with you and show you the finished product. So I took this off of the hoop, and you see the finished product. It is the front, the back, and water soluble stabilizer, Sulky on the top, violin on the bottom. I'm going to cut all this off, soak it, and you'll have the finished product. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Help me get to that 2,000 before the end of the year. Hit the notification bell. Share. And like. Of course, the thumb up. Come to my next live, which will be January the 7th, the first Tuesday in the new year. And I will be putting up day 8 very soon. Thank you for watching. You take care. And I will show you the finished product on the next video. I'm not. Here's the finished product. Here's the front. Here's the back. Water soluble on the front. Violin on the back. Here's the back of it. All I have to do now is cut it out, soak it, and it will be completely done. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out and soak it, and then I will show you the finished product side by side with the one that I did. But in the meantime, while we're waiting on that, let me go ahead and thank you for watching. Also, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Excuse me. Thumbs up, please. Help me get that 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I only need 30 more. We got enough time. 2 a day will do it. 5 a day would be even better. Thank you for watching, and I will put the finished product up as soon as I get this soaked out. And so I'm going to say take care for now until you see the finished product. Talk to you in a minute. It takes about a good 30 minutes or so to soak it, just to get most of it off, and you need to soak it in warm water. And because it's a lot of water soluble stabilizer, it's probably going to need at least a good hour. Then of course you're going to have to dry it, and once it's dry, then you should iron it out flat, and that gives you the coaster. So I'll show you the 2 coasters side by side. So I'll see you in a minute.